Hello everyone, good morning. How are you all? Sending lots of love and good vibes. How's everyone's weekend, by the way? We're going to be talking all today about United Healthcare. We're going to be giving it an update about everything happening on that front. We're not specifically going to be talking about Luigi Mangione and the case there, but we are going to be talking about how the shareholders are reacting to everything happening with United Healthcare. And what they say in their report, their briefing, is actually really notable. And by who? The people who are the biggest shareholders of United Healthcare may shock and surprise you. It may not. We're going to be getting to all of that. We're also going to be talking about Medicare Advantage, and how this program is actually low-key ripping off the government. Medicare Advantage in particular, there are lots of loopholes in the system that allows these health insurance companies to profit off of misdiagnosing people as a way to then earn more money for care, but then never giving it. So we're actually going to be diving into all of it. Now, something that is important about this live stream, I do not welcome up guests. This is not a debate. This is not a multi-guest live stream. I am here to provide some raw information. That is what news is supposed to be about. Yes, I will share my opinion, but I will make it very clear you can disagree with me on my opinion. Because if you and I are looking at the same information and you come to one conclusion about what you think is important, significant, or what needs to be taken into consideration more, and I come to a different conclusion, fine, work, okay. But what's not up for debate is the objective facts. So that's what I cover here. I appreciate all of you. Please make sure to send some likes. It really does help out this stream. I work really hard to do what I do here, and I don't get paid for it. So anyway, I want to start with this specific story that you all may have heard about here on TikTok. And also, if you're a quiet listener, please make sure to comment yes. That way, it just builds up community. We can see who's in here. I love all of you. And if you're a first-time listener, say hello and where you're tuning in from, because I like to get to know all new folks and stuff like that. So good morning, C-Bar, 11K, MJ Adams. Love you all, that one guy. Splash, thanks for the follow. I am Beaudry. Hello. I see Might Teen Man joined. Good morning. Mel K, thank you for the heart me. Thank you all to folks who send gifts too, because I don't really make very much money, especially considering I just became unemployed. I found a new job recently, but I don't know if I'm getting enough. I'm still figuring it all out. So I love all of you. Hello from Illinois. Well, hello. So you all may have seen this on TikTok. There's a doctor named Elizabeth Potter. Have you all seen this video in particular from this woman that was talking about how United Healthcare called in the middle of a patient's surgery and said it was urgent that the doctor speak with United Healthcare? Have you all seen this video? If you haven't, it's okay. Just say yes or no if you have, or if you haven't. It might have come across your For You page, it may not have. For folks who don't know of it, I say, okay, a lot of people don't know of it. And that's okay. That's okay. To be honest, it didn't come across my For You page either. But I heard about this actually when watching a couple different journalists that I follow on YouTube. So this is Dr. Elizabeth Potter. She is a specific surgeon that does plastic. I think she's a plastic surgeon for people who have breast cancer. And I do not know what it's like to have breast cancer. I do not have immediate families or friends that have gone through breast cancer, but I know it's not easy. So I want to cover specifically a video that she made that has been making a lot of rumble. Out of control. Insurance giant United Health calls in the middle of cancer surgery to question the necessity of it and the coverage. So Dr. Elizabeth Potter shared another horror story from a doctor dealing with United Healthcare's terrible authorization process. So In a video posted to TikTok, Dr. Elizabeth Potter said she recently received an unprecedented phone call from United Healthcare about a patient, one who was already under anesthesia and having surgery for the breast cancer. Potter, who's a plastic surgeon, specializes in reconstructive surgery for breast cancer patients who have had mastectomies, said that she was performing a bilateral deep inferior epigastric perforator. Oh, geez, Louise, say that 3 times fast. Surgery when United Healthcare called in her operating room. The call was urgent, she was told, and needed to be returned right away. I don't know necessarily what happened. Maybe the nurse or someone was like, hey, you got a call from United Healthcare, and they said it's urgent and you need to call them back. So I scrubbed out of my case and I called United Healthcare. And the gentleman said he needed some information about her. Now pause. Does anyone in here work in healthcare? Like in a hospital? If you do, then feel free to say yes. Because I'm just curious. I do not. I am not a expert on that at all. Though I hear that it actually is a longer process to like get into scrubs, get out of scrubs. I hear that it's not like something you can just like putting on a sweater and taking it off. That's what I've heard. But I wanted to see how many people in here work specifically like in hospitals and if you know anything about that process. Because if you're in the middle of a surgery and your patient has anesthesia and you're in the middle of the operating table, scrubbing takes 15 to 20 minutes. Scrub in and out is a long process. Yeah. So United Healthcare calls in the middle of this surgery and says, you need to call us back immediately. And then that doctor has to get out of scrubs and then get back into them after the call is over while their patient is in the middle of anesthesia. Meanwhile, that anesthesia can be really expensive. So you're basically just wasting money and risking the patient's life by just leaving them out on the operating table. I am not an expert. I'm going to leave that up to folks in healthcare, but that does not seem efficient, seems risky, and it seems rude. We're going to be talking about why this doctor felt the need to return the call. Not only because the insurer said, hey, this is critical, we need to talk to you right away, but the insurers are the ones that will either cover or not cover a patient's care. And so depending on that, doctors are often feel a sense of pressure from the insurance company. So United Healthcare, the health insurance company, calls in the middle of the surgery and says, scrub down, we need to talk to you right away. This call is urgent, please call us back. So in the middle of a surgery, while the patient is under anesthesia, and in the middle of this breast cancer reconstruction surgery, this bilateral deep inferior epigastric perforator surgery, so scrubbed out takes 15 minutes. Thank you, Hannah, for the rose. And the gentleman said he needed some information about him, quote, wanted to know her diagnosis and whether her inpatient stay should be justified. Well, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to pretend to be. But if you have surgery, especially this really complicated breast cancer surgery, you should at least stay in the hospital for at least one night so that you're under care, supervision, that like minimum, you should stay in there for one day so that you can rest and heal up. Not going to have like this breast cancer surgery and then all of a sudden like an hour later you're like hunky-dory just walking down the street. Like that's, I am not an expert in medicine, but I guarantee you that's not how that's not going to go well. You're getting a major surgery. Like, yeah, it should be something that is automatically done. So Potter found out the person calling wasn't aware that the patient whose care he was questioning had breast cancer and was in the operating room. That information was known, quote, by a different department. So while on the phone, according to Dr. Elizabeth Potter, the person that was calling was like, yeah, we're just wondering if we need to we don't think that this person needs to be covered for like, overnight stay. So you're calling not knowing about this patient's condition at all, or diagnoses at all, or operations at all. How is that a different department than the one who's calling? So it seems like they're trying to be purposely like, oopsies, sorry about that, So they have a little bit of plausible deniability, but I guarantee you that United Healthcare knew this was happening, yet was doing this so they wouldn't have to pay for an overnight stay. Because the way that health insurance companies make money these days is the sicker you are, the more money they make. Only in America we allow this. So Potter's account said this person, Niti Hedgie, the managing director at the Economic Liberties Project, was, quote, another horror story from a doctor dealing with United Healthcare's terrible authorization process. Quote, ridiculous that doctors and nurses are spending time explaining their work to an insurance company instead of being able to focus on care. As Common Dreams reports, cancer patients have become disproportionately affected by prior authorizations demanded by for-profit insurers, which require doctors to get approval for treatments. Prior authorization can delay life-saving care, and one survey of oncologists in 2022 found that patients experience, quote, disease progression 80% of the time, and insurance companies' bureaucratic requirements delayed their treatment. How convenient. Now, another Senate investigation found the company intentionally denied claims submitted by nursing home patients who suffered strokes and falls in order to increase their profits. Also, United Healthcare faces a class action lawsuit for using an AI, artificial intelligence algorithm, with a 90% error rate to deny coverage to citizens that have Medicare Advantage plans. Now, what I find really interesting is that they say, oh, that's a different department. That's a different department. So Potter found that the person calling wasn't aware that the patient whose care he was questioning had breast cancer and was in the operating room at the time that they called. And that information was known by a different department. If you are calling asking about whether something needs to be reimbursed or covered, don't you think you should know the status of the patient at least? You should know whether they are or are not being operated on. You should know their conditions, what their diagnosis is. At best, it's incredibly inefficient or just ignorant and also tone deaf. But honestly, I think that United Healthcare does know. The reason why they do these things, in the words of Elizabeth Potter, is because it's a fear-based system. What it does is it makes doctors afraid to go against the insurance companies, because either they or the patient might be stuck with a big medical bill that they can't necessarily afford. And what's really scary to me is when insurance companies, folks who have no expertise in medicine, are telling what care is and isn't, what can and cannot be covered. Basically, this story shows that insurance companies are very much telling doctors what they can and cannot do and what will and will not be covered as a way of fear-mongering to get them to do a certain thing. And for those people who say, oh, that's a stretch, Scott. That's a stretch. Insurance companies are not trying to dictate what care doctors give. We're going to be talking about that. I'm going to give you a couple more examples of it in the live stream. You have insurance companies that are on the phone saying, hey, doctor, can you go with this diagnosis? Can you go with this diagnosis? Can you encourage your people to diagnose more people with this? And you're like, wait, how is that okay? Well, depending on what kind of disease it is or condition, the government decides to then step in and pay for part of that. And it basically means that the health insurance company is being paid per diagnosis. And if you overdiagnose people who don't have a sickness, have a specific disease, then you're going to get paid without having to actually hold your end of the bargain. And that's precisely what's been happening with Medicare Advantage. Now, in addition to all of this, United Healthcare is actually using an artificial intelligence model to deny healthcare. And they've known about this for a long time, and they've refused to do anything about it. Now, you might be saying, well, why are they, what's the advantage of them denying care? Denying care leads to profit for health insurance companies. That's how part of the system is designed. Denying health care for people is how the system makes money. part of it at least. If you disagree with the way that that's designed, you're not the only one. We're the only country in the world that has this kind of model. Canada doesn't have it. UK doesn't have it. We're the only country that instead uses this for-profit system instead of having a system, regardless of your ability to pay, your income, everyone gets the same access. Because it's a right given to you by the government, not attached to your employment, not attached to the amount of money you make or that you can afford. It's just given to you. And see, that to me is how it should work. Now, as Sunshine points out, it doesn't mean that those systems that have it through, let's say the government, are perfect. They have their own sets of issues. But when it comes to the way that the system is set up, it's not a money-making profit machine. And also, I find it really funny that people who claim that like Canadians in the UK don't have good healthcare tend to not be from Canada or the UK. So how about we listen to people in Canada or the UK about all of that? Just saying. And also, sometimes I find it really hard to believe, just saying, when people all of a sudden conveniently say, oh, like, I live in Canada. I don't know if I believe that. That all being said, a majority of Canadians and a majority of people in the UK like the way that system is set up. United Healthcare is using an AI model in order to deny coverage for people. You're like, well, how does this work? United Healthcare, the largest health insurance company in the US, is allegedly using a deeply flawed artificial intelligence algorithm. They've used it ever since 2018. To override doctors' judgments and wrongfully deny critical health coverage to elderly patients. So this AI algorithm is actually saying, hey, doctors, we don't like that you've recommended that people do this, so we're just going to deny this claim. We're going to deny covering for this procedure. We're not going to cover for that. So, meaning that they actually get to keep the money because of the amount of denials they have. This results in patients being kicked out of rehabilitation programs and care facilities far too early, forcing them to drain their life savings to obtain needed care that should be covered under their government-funded Medicare Advantage plan. So these favorable failings, it's not new for the health insurance industry, but the specific AI algorithm that they've used has a 90% fail rate. It should not be that high. It should not be that high. How many people have suffered and died because of this AI program? I don't actually know that. That's actually, what was that a good question? Yeah, I don't know how many people have actually died because of this, but I know several people have gone bankrupt, and medical bankruptcy is the highest level of bankruptcy, or not the most common form of bankruptcy in this country. So that's really unfortunate. No one should go bankrupt just trying to get healthcare. Like that shouldn't be a thing. So in December, ProPublica published an investigation that found the company is one of 7 insurers who repeatedly relied on the advice of company doctors who have wrongly recommended denying care. So again, this also goes back to Elizabeth Potter's video, where in a follow-up video, Potter said on Wednesday that insurance companies have created a fear-based system where if an insurance company calls me and says, I've got to call them back, I'm afraid they're not going to pay for my patient's surgery, and that patient is going to get stuck with a bill. So this is why doctors feel like they have to, even though they get a call mid-surgery, have to scrub down and immediately call the health insurance company, even if it puts their patient's life in risk. Someone says Canadian here, now we have dental coverage. I know, that's awful having to go bankrupt for medical care. Yet it happens here in the US. It happens here in the US. And just as like a quick little pause, I find it really interesting how Donald Trump is like, Canada, it would be great if Canada was the 51st state. It'd be fantastic. It'd be incredible. It would be awesome. You know, many Canadians would love for Canada to be the 51st state of America. You know, everyone loves that. People talk about it all the time. What'd be really interesting is if Canada becomes the 51st state of the United States, which, oh my God, let's let the people of Canada decide their sovereignty instead of the United States is like imperial colonialistic fetishism thirst urges trying to acquire more territory, we can ask them if they want to, but also, why would they? Because a lot of Canadians currently don't have to pay for healthcare out of pocket with exorbitant costs, and it's likely that this platform that we are on is going to be gone. So, like, why would Canadians want to become a part of America so they have to pay for healthcare and then also not have this platform? And also, we have a very, very, very alarming gun violence epidemic in this country. So why would anyone in Canada want to join this country? Like, it's just wild. Anyway, I just have to throw it out there because I found that to be really, really funny. Also, by the way, if you happen to miss one of my live streams, I'm starting to post them to YouTube. So I can show you my YouTube page if you all would like really quickly. That way, let's say you miss a live stream and you're like, oh gosh, I really wanted to see that one. I've had many people that have said, hey, we really want you to post them. So if you go to my profile here, and actually it's click right up here. If you click this, it's going to take you to this page where you can click on the link tree. Clicking on the link tree takes you to where you can see me on YouTube. You can see this YouTube button or this one. And you go to my YouTube platform and it actually shows all the different videos I have, and I've started to post my longer live streams. So it's a whole thing. And while we're on that subject really, really quickly, I do want to specifically say something. What I find so interesting is I don't know of many other countries that, like, for instance, Canada, Mexico, Germany, the UK, South Africa, who had the same kind of, like, quote, national security concerns that the United States does when it comes to this platform. The reason why they want to ban where we currently see ourselves right now, the reasoning that the government gives us is that, a certain country is using it to watch other citizens of another country, maybe something like the United States of America. But what is so interesting is that other countries don't see it as a huge issue. They don't see it as a huge issue. They're like, okay, so why is it that the United States sees it as a huge issue, but not other countries? Because the real reason behind why this platform might disappear for Americans is that if America doesn't own it, or if America doesn't own it, they don't want it. If America doesn't own it, they don't want it. And think about it like this. Do other countries not have the same concern when it comes to Meta, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Google, Oracle? Like, do they not have the same kinds of concerns that the United States might be using those platforms to then take away or to have an eye into their citizens? So what it really shows is that the United States plays this heads I win, tails you lose situation. And I use that purposefully. Think about it. Heads I win, tails you lose. It means that you're going to lose no matter what, and I'm going to win no matter what. No matter how the situation is. So the United States is trying to do this thing where if they don't own every single bigger news outlet or social media outlet that their citizens use, then they're going to want to eliminate it. And like, I'm an American. I'm so proud to be an American. Though it's also understandable why many people are like, yeah, America, you need to stop doing bad things. But also, this app has an amazing way of connecting people to each other and as an amazing way of elevating new things to the surface. And what is so, I just want to also point this out about all of it. And I've wanted to say this for the longest time. And y'all, please send some links. I appreciate every single one of you. What's also interesting is that under the first Trump administration, they flirted with the idea of a ban for where we currently this platform where we currently find ourselves. Under the first Trump administration, they initially floated that possibility. And it was very unpopular. Everyone was like, this is bad. We don't want this, blah, blah, blah. This is a bad idea. What's interesting is that Joe Biden and the Democrats actually did it. They actually did it. If there's one issue that really, there's probably a couple, but there's very few issues that unite a lot of people of all political affiliations, like Democrat or Republican. Banning a certain social media app where we find ourselves is one that unites everyone. So it's funny how Democrats, like Republicans introduced the idea, Democrats actually did it, and now Trump is like, I want to save TikTok, I want to save it, I want to save it. It's like, it's a lot like Charlie Brown, Lucy, and the football. Do you all know that reference? If you all ever watched Charlie Brown, Lucy puts out the football and says, hey, Charlie Brown, don't you want to kick the football? And Charlie Brown's like, I'm going to get it. And then at the last second, as he goes to run, Lucy yanks it away, and then Charlie Brown goes flying. That's exactly what Republicans and Democrats did with the banning of TikTok. Yeah, no, you heard me right. You have Democrats are like Charlie Brown. Democrats are like the Charlie Brown. Are you all following me in this situation? And then all of a sudden now Republicans look like the good guys that want to save TikTok, while they were the ones that initially started it in the first place. And there are so many things that are exactly like that, where the Republicans will do it, the Democrats make it actively worse, and the optics look really, really bad for them. But it was actually the Republicans that started it and were able to not get bad publicity because of it. It's really wild. So anyway, going back to all of this here, and I know we've been a little bit all over the place this morning. I appreciate every single one of you. Health insurance in this country is a disaster. It really is, for a myriad of reasons. Number one, have you all seen this before? Have you all seen this chart before? If you have, then comment yes. If you haven't, comment no. I need to take a sip of water. Have you all seen this before? If you've seen my live streams, then you'll probably know what this is. And I appreciate every single one of you that's in here. I really do. I say that all the time. But this live stream would not be without you all. And I need to be better about promoting myself, not being afraid to actually incentivize people to subscribe, or not be afraid to say, hey, I work hard doing what I do. Please send some likes. Please send a gift. By the way, I don't earn very much money. I also just recently got laid off my job, and I'm having trouble getting enough hours for another job. So funds are kind of tight right now. So it means a lot if you all help me out there. That all being said, going back to this, it sounds like many of you have seen this chart here. This is the claim denial rates by insurance companies, by health insurance companies. You'll see down here, UHC is United Healthcare, has over 1 in 3 denials broadly. Over 33%, around 32% of all claims are denied. Now again, if you're paying into insurance every month, and then you say, hey, insurance, can you cover this for me? Insurance companies make money by denying claims. Like, that's how they make a lot of money. That's part of the way they make money, is by denying claims. You'd be like, well, you shouldn't be able to make money by denying people healthcare. Except that's exactly how the system is set up. So for all the Canadians that apparently don't like their healthcare, do you want to pay out of pocket for yours probably 4 times the amount? Because that's what it is here in America. Instead of having healthcare guaranteed to you, a lot of people are going to Twitch. Yeah, I should probably get on Twitch a little bit. That'd be fun. Honestly, I think it would be really fun playing like games. I think it'd be really fun if I played games. We could get rid of insurance companies. That it's just do health insurance companies, because no one should profit off of healthcare or health insurance in particular. Thank you all for sending likes. I really appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are awesome. So with all of this, I want to specifically talk about, and I kind of highlighted a lot of stuff. I want to talk about one thing in particular. Where is it? Where is it? Why would you want to be a doctor? I don't want to be a doctor. Oh, yeah. Why would you want to be a doctor if health insurance companies are just going to dictate what you can and cannot do, which is what's happening. Yeah, it's crazy. So, have you all heard of this report from the shareholders? Untrue. We're going to be talking about all of that here in a minute. Actually, you can get healthcare without insurance. You can get healthcare without insurance and pay excessive amounts for it. That's how it can work. You pay excessive amounts of money for health insurance. It's for health insurance and for healthcare without insurance. It's bad. Anyway, so I want to specifically talk about the shareholders here. So United Healthcare's shareholders, ever since everything with Luigi Mangione, I think it's not far-fetched to say they've been probably in this trying to gauge out the public's response and cover their own so that they don't look as evil. Now, I want to specifically highlight the document. They released this kind of this press statement as shareholders talking about some of this. And I want to read it from you. So United Healthcare and United Health Group, they're the same thing, shareholders demand a review of these policies that lead to delayed or denied healthcare access. So these shareholders are saying, hey, this company's policies are really alarming and we want to look into it. Okay. Well, alarming is a relative term. So what do they find alarming? Do the shareholders find it alarming that you have companies making excessive profits off of denying people health care? Do they find it alarming that 1 in 3 claims for United Healthcare gets denied, meaning the company pockets money off of denying people health care? Do they find it alarming that this delayed or denied healthcare access leads to people dying? Or is it something else they find alarming? Well, newsflash. It's not about morality, it's about money. Even for the way that these shareholders are talking about it. So these shareholders are saying, yeah, we want to review United Healthcare and United Health groups policies because we're just worried about what it does in the long run. So they're calling on the company's board of directors to release a report on how its policy of limiting or delaying access to healthcare may be impacting the company's overall brand and the economy overall. So these shareholders are saying that they're concerned about their money and the brand of the company. No, not about the negative effects of what they're paying into in regards to what the company is doing. No, they're concerned about the brand, the economy, the money that they put into it. Not about the morality at all. The proposal shared by the shareholders asked that the board of United Health Group, their board of directors, produce a report looking into, quote, how the company's practices might impact access to healthcare and patient outcomes, including analyses of how often prior authorization requests or denials of coverage lead to delay or abandonment of medical treatments and serious adverse events for patients. Now, this is actual press statement from them. And everyone, please send some likes. I work really, really hard to do what I do. If everyone right now could send 100 likes, it would really mean a lot. It'd really mean a lot. I work hard trying to inform people this way, and I'm not one of these political creators that constantly platforms opposition and rage baits you and stirs the pot, causes drama. I'm here giving you just raw information. And it's hard for people like me, and this is a little thing that I just want to know. It's hard for people like me to compete on social media with other people because many folks don't prioritize the raw, unfiltered information. They prioritize the drama. It doesn't matter their political affiliation. They prioritize the drama, the jaw-dropping nature of, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Like, I'm here to give you information and also allow you to think critically. I'm not here to tell you what to think. And right now, journalism is under attack in this country. It really is. It really is. You don't have raw, unfiltered information anymore. It's always cloaked with someone's opinion. And even if I agree with that opinion, that's not how this works. That's not how journalism is supposed to be. And also, a lot of people like to take facts and make them up for debate, when facts are not up for debate. Your opinion or your interpretation is up for debate, not the objective facts. So, going back to this, United Healthcare, their shareholders released this statement. Now, I just want to note something. Look at the red box up there. This is on the Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility, ICCR. This is a group that I'm going to be looking into further. Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility. Some of the biggest shareholders in United Healthcare, can you guess what kind of group they are? Can you guess what kind of group they are? Some of the biggest shareholders of United Healthcare, again, this company that is profiting off of denying people healthcare, leading them to going bankrupt after paying out of pocket, and then also dying. Some of the biggest shareholders happen to be churches. You heard me right. Churches. Some of the biggest shareholders of United Healthcare happen to be churches. Let me find the specific things here. Hold on. Yeah, the NWCRI is a part of the Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility, which describes itself as a coalition of faith-based values investors. Hold on just a second. Where is the thing that I wanted to show? Here it is. Sisters of Holy Name of Jesus and Mary led the filing. So, I just want to point out that some of the biggest shareholders in United Healthcare, the ones that are profiting off of denying people healthcare, are faith-based organizations, primarily from the Catholic Church. How does it make you feel that bigger religious institutions are some of the biggest investors in healthcare, in the for-profit healthcare insurance industry? That actually kind of makes me sick to my core. And this is where I say, look, this is especially like Christianity has been hijacked by people. The idea of Christianity, the purpose of what it's supposed to be, and I grew up in a Lutheran church. Lutherans are like Catholic light. Oftentimes religion, specifically Christianity, is hijacked by people who seek it to control others instead of it actually being about the purpose of the religion itself. So the fact that you have bigger Catholic churches that are the biggest shareholders in United Healthcare, a company that profits off of denying people healthcare, actually makes me sick to my core. Like, I'm re-entering Christianity right now after moving in with a religious family and all my alarms are on. Yeah. So, this is the statement from the United Healthcare shareholders. This is what they said. They're saying shareholders request of the board of directors that United Health Group prepare a report, blah, 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 all this stuff. Overall performance on financial markets determines 75 to 94% of portfolio returns to broadly diversified investors. Blah, 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 talking about all it. Given United Health Group's size and broad reach, more than 5% of the U.S.'s gross domestic product flows through the company's systems every day. Pause. Let me just break that down. 5%. 5% of, that's 1 in 20. 1 in 20. 5% of all of the country's GDP flows through just one company. I also want to say, I bet there are other companies that are just as big that also have about 1 in 20 of all GDP going through, the country's GDP going through that company. That seems wild to me. So, I also just want to point out here that shareholders fear that United Health Group's practices may impair the value of their portfolios. Ding, ding, ding. That's the real reason that these shareholders prepared this report. They don't care about the morality practices, the predatory nature of this for-profit health insurance industry that makes money off of denying people health care. They're concerned about their legacy of their investor portfolios and their brand of the company. Oh, it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. Practices such as those below may increase short-term revenue while risking the company's brand and name, threatening investors' broader portfolios by increasing customer debt, jeopardizing health of policyholders, and thereby reducing workforce productivity, straining government resources, and risking increased taxes. So the shareholders are saying, hey, United Health Group's practices, we are concerned about the impact that it has on the brand. In particular, denying people healthcare, leading to them not being productive workers in the economy, productive cogs in the machines for all these other companies. We're concerned about how it impacts the economy. They're not concerned about the fact that denying healthcare leads to people using their life savings trying to pay out of pocket for it, leading to them going bankrupt, and also giving them lower levels of care that then lead to them dying. No, they're not. The shareholders here are not talking about the morality. They're talking about, what about my money? What about my money? And guess what? Some of the biggest shareholders of United Healthcare are, again, Sisters of Holy Names of Jesus and Mary led the filing. Co-filers include the Benedictine Sisters of Baltimore, the Emmanuel Monastery, Sisters of Mount Scholastia, Mercy Investments, Sisters of St. Francis of Philadelphia, Sisters of Humility of Mary in Ohio, and Trillium Asset Management. These religious institutions, which led the filing, are not concerned about the morality of these health insurance companies' processes leading to people going bankrupt and dying. They're concerned about the money. You would think that if they're a religious institution, their first priority would be morality, but it's not. And this is where, again, I say that oftentimes religion is hijacked by people who want to use it for power, money, and gain. There are good religious people out there who actually live what that religion says out. But the corporatized, broader structure of religion, it's really just a grift, unfortunately. It turns into a grift because some of the biggest investors in this predatory health insurance company are leaders of the Catholic Church. It's right there. I'm not gonna lie, this explicit connection was not on my 2025 bingo card. But also, I don't know why I'm so surprised. What do you all think of this? I can't English. What do you all think of this? Ooh. Do you all have any reactions to everything here? Also, something I've been working on in the live stream, is not having as much filler language. Working on eliminating words like and, but, for, like, so, I've been working on trying to eliminate that filler speech, because I was editing my live streams this weekend, and after watching them back, I was astounded by how much filler language I use, and I just really want to tighten that up. So, anyway, it's gross behavior that should be called out publicly, since that's the only way they respond to. Yeah. 100%. If we lose TT where you stream, I'm thinking about either streaming on YouTube or Instagram, but I'm also building up a lot of pages on a lot of other sites as well. So, I'm also curious, to the people who watch my live stream, do you all watch for just the news parts? Do you like my analysis? Or do you like just the vibe and the personality? I would love to see... Or is it all of the above? You have a Patreon if people want to move their subscription there. Yeah. I would actually love for that. Do you... I'm just curious, out of these 4 options, why do you all watch my live streams? Is it just the news and information? Do you all like my opinionated analysis on that news and information? Do you all just like the vibe of the live streams, or is it all of the above? If it's all of the above, also just mention your favorite part. If it's all of the above, I'm seeing a lot of people say all of the above, but why? I really want to know specifically, is it that you like my analysis, or is that you just like the raw news and information? Or is that you just really love the way I present it, my personality, as the kids say, you have the riz, which is like charisma. The reason I say all that is because I'm trying to figure out what really calls to people, not so that I can change, but so I can bring out parts of myself to certain groups and audiences, so that it's easier for me to grow my platform while maintaining my authenticity. Tiffany says, this is my first time, clicked because of the subject, but you're adorable. Oh, thank you. I'm new. I like the information and analysis. Too many creators are personality with no substance. Okay, I'm going to pin this comment. AB, I know you're new here, so thank you. Oh my God, thank you. That means a lot. And I just want to point out that, yeah, a lot of people on this app are all personality, especially, and this might cause some drama or whatever. A lot of political creators, even ones I agree with, are a lot of personality and little substance. Just saying. You know, I don't want to ever tell people what they can and cannot do with their platform. But we, as consumers of social media, need to prioritize people that provide not just like some personality, but also a service or information. This is why we need to be better critical thinkers and consumers of social media itself. Stop trying to platform rage baiters. Stop trying to platform people constantly provoking and drama seeking, but instead people who actually put a lot of hard work into their content, put in some heart, some substance. Don't just platform opposition and then debate what a fact is. And no, facts are not up for debate. Facts are not up for debate. Yet, there are so many political creators that constantly platform opposition in order to do just that. It actually harms the app. So anyway, so I appreciate everyone giving me that feedback. It really does help. Asking us deep questions with the news helps me process it better. Yeah, I appreciate that. I like asking you all questions because I'm not here to just give you, the analysis, give you just like raw information in my analysis. I want you to think critically for yourself. And if you and I come to different interpretations or viewpoints on the same set of facts, who am I to tell you that you're wrong? I'll be like, I disagree with that. I think that's misguided. But that's an opinion. That's up for interpretation. That's up for debate. Facts and objective information is not. And that's what's so dangerous about media outlets these days, is they like to take the objective information and make it up for debate. No! The facts are not up for debate. Your interpretation of those facts are up for debate. It makes me so angry. Okay, I need to make sure. Let's see. I think mostly doing info with analysis and all the vibes. Yeah. Vibes first, info and opinion second. Similar info not always presented well or interestingly. What do you mean by that, Derek G? Just followed you on Instagram and Blue Sky. Oh, thank you. I listen while I work at love. I listen while I work. Love it. And your voice is soothing. Thank you. I've actually been looking into trying to get into voice acting. So if y'all have connections, DM me. You did some rage baiting for me with your analysis of this, but I'm still here. Me highlighting the fact that our for-profit healthcare system leads to people going bankrupt and dying. That's the objective facts. My opinion is that that's an immoral system. If me sharing the fact that predatory companies make money off of people going bankrupt, if you want to define that as rage baiting, okay. It's a very, very interesting, very, very malleable definition. I think it's very valid to be angry at that. To me, rage baiting is trying to take a situation and make it so obnoxious and obscene, even though it doesn't need to be like that. Whereas this anger is very justified. Because people have died over this. And also, rage baiting usually means it's like angry at an individual for like drama-related purposes in interpersonal conflicts. So, yeah. That's an interesting comment there. Yes, many just want to fight and belittle each other. Yeah, absolutely. I always appreciate your content and how you explain things that may be confusing. Yeah, pure essence, if I took your comment out of context, I apologize. I didn't know if that was directed towards me or anything like this, because I know it said you appreciate these topics, so I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah, maybe I'm misreading your comment, so I apologize about that. But yeah, something that I feel like I do too much though is I'm wondering if I over repeat myself. I'm very, very thorough whenever I talk about stuff. Am I overly thorough? I'm gonna ask that question, and then I'm gonna get back to everything here. Am I overly thorough when it comes to reporting news? It's okay to say that I am, because I think sometimes I am very overly thorough and I repeat myself a lot to the point where people might actually scroll away or maybe get confused because I over repeat and myself and that I'm over thorough. I agree with you. Your voice is calming. Oh, thank you. Sometimes you do repeat more than is useful. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So we can get the same facts and similar opinions elsewhere, but your presence and delivery are... It's 1 out of 2. Yeah, Cherry, that's true. You have new people joining, so sometimes you repeat yourself so new people know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. So we can get the same facts and similar opinions elsewhere, but your presence and delivery are why I think the vibes are good and good for the community. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to ask those couple questions. That feedback really does help me, so I appreciate it. All right. We're going to get back into our regularly scheduled programming. Do we want to talk about Medicare Advantage? Let's talk about Medicare Advantage. Where is it here? Now, I'm specifically going to be talking about the corruption practices behind health insurance companies and how these health insurance companies are actually using Medicare Advantage to profit unfairly. Now, I will say I favor personally a universal healthcare system where it's completely set up differently. Though there are also ways to fix these holes in the Medicare Advantage system to stop this corruption, but it doesn't eliminate all the problems of for-profit health insurance. But right now, I used to think you over-explain things. Now I understand why you do it. Yeah. I do think that I over-explain stuff, but that's also because new viewers will hop in here. So I don't ever want to leave people hanging. And I don't want to make them confused and anxious because they don't know something and scroll away. That's why I repeat myself so much. That all being said, there's also negatives to that. So, Medicare Advantage, for those people who do not know, this is a program that's different from traditional Medicare. Congress created Medicare Advantage in 1997 to demonstrate for good and all that the market economy could be more cost-effective at delivering doctor and hospital care. The privatization program succeeded in winning over the public. 54% of the Medicare-eligible population chose Medicare Advantage. Now, Medicare Advantage looks to people over 65. Medicare Advantage looks to people over 65 like a better deal because it covers traditional things that Medicare doesn't, such as visits to the dentist or the eye doctor. Some plans even cover acupuncture. But if you get seriously ill and need to be referred to a specialist, Medicare Advantage isn't so great. Now, this is the part that I underlined. An April 2022 study by the Health and Human Services Department Inspector General found that 13% of the referrals denied under Medicare Advantage would have been approved under traditional Medicare, meaning that Medicare Advantage has a higher denial rate than Medicare. Now, Medicare Advantage also shows that the healthcare privatization is a lousy deal for taxpayers because Medicare Advantage costs the federal government 7% more per enrollee than traditional Medicare. According to an August 2024 study by the fiscally conservative Peter G. Peterson Foundation, which I really like their data. They do a lot of great data work. You can actually see it right here. I'm not going to go through all the specifics here, but they do a lot with breaking down and making all of the facts easier to understand. They did a big breakdown of military spending that I've used to talk about our overspending in the military for like big handouts to massive weapons manufacturers. But back to this year, Medicare Advantage costs the federal government 7% more per enrollee than traditional Medicare, according to an August 2024 study by the fiscally conservative Peter G. Peterson Foundation. For enrollees with similar health profiles, Medicare Advantage costs 22% more. Now, this is where it gets fishy. Perhaps because as the Wall Street Journal's investigations found out, Medicare Advantage insurers routinely pad their government reimbursement requests with spurious diagnoses. For example, an astounding 66,000 Medicare Advantage patients were diagnosed with diabetic cataracts, even after these patients had surgery to correct those conditions, making that diagnosis like anatomically impossible. That's like you get diagnosed with the flu, then you fix your condition, you get over the flu, and then you get diagnosed again. It's like, well, you don't have it anymore. Yeah, but also, health insurance companies make money off of diagnoses. So, Medicare Advantage can pad their pockets by diagnosing people with stuff that they don't actually have. Maybe because they got rid of it. So Medicare Advantage insurers routinely pad their pockets through reimbursement requests with spurious diagnoses. Again, under Medicare Advantage, 66,000 Medicare Advantage patients were diagnosed with diabetic cataracts even after these patients had surgery to correct them, making this diagnosis anatomically impossible. In other instances, patients who Medicare Advantage insurers reported as being HIV positive received none of the recommended treatments. Now, if a doctor failed to furnish a desired diagnosis, insurers, like United Healthcare, dispatched a specific company nurse to the patient's home to find a diagnosis. You heard me right. After all of this, the insurance company was like, we need to go and get a diagnosis. Because that diagnosis we have more and more people. Basically what they were doing is the government reimburses people for diagnoses of certain medical conditions. So Medicare Advantage was over-diagnosing people after their conditions were already healed up or their surgeries had already been done. And what that does is it's ripping off the government so that these Medicare Advantage health insurance companies actually get more from the government. So for all the fiscally conservative people that are out there, and I would not say I'm fiscally conservative, I'm very, very progressive Democrat. Though also, I care about the way that money is spent. If you are so concerned about, oh my God, we need to pay down the debt and the deficit. We need to actually make sure money is invested here at home. If you are so overly zealous about cutting programs and cutting waste within the programs, this is waste. This is the government being ripped off by big corporate for-profit health insurance companies by over-diagnosing people so that they get more money. They get like a couple $1,000s per enrollee, per diagnosis. So when health insurance companies will do that, they make money. Are you all following me? Medicare Advantage insurers also con veterans into enrolling in the program, even though they were already covered adequately by the Veterans Administrative Health System, which has repeatedly demonstrated to be superior private health hospital insurance care. Just saying. Also, looking at Medicare data between 2019 and 2022, the journal found that patients who moved from traditional Medicare to United Healthcare's Medicare Advantage plan got 55% sicker on paper. 55% sicker on paper. Wow, Jenny, that's crazy. So I specifically want to just highlight this again, that the way that Medicare Advantage works is that these companies will get money. These health insurance companies get money from the government for a diagnosis. So under this Medicare Advantage plan, 66,000 Medicare Advantage plan patients were diagnosed with diabetic cataracts. But even after they had already had the surgery to get it done. So they were diagnosed, they got the surgery, then they were diagnosed again. They were diagnosed again. Why? Because the government will actually pay them, be like, oh, well, we need to dole out some more money. For any fiscal conservatives or people who are concerned about this spending, oh, we need to be concerned about spending. This is waste. You have corporations ripping off even government programs. This is it. This is the evidence right here. So for any conservative that then says, oh, I care about the spending of the government, be like, okay, do you think that the government should be ripped off by Medicare because they're overdiagnosing people of diseases that they have already been cured from or already had the surgeries for, so that they can pad their profits, so that they can make more money? And do you think that's okay? It's wild to me. And there are investigations that have showed this. But why has lawmakers not done anything? Well, if I don't have the graphic here to show you, but United Healthcare and big health insurance companies, they donate excessively. They are the top contributor to many members of Congress. So why would members of Congress on both sides of the aisle want to regulate the people who are their biggest donors? The evidence is there. Now, also, here's some other examples. Insurers made patients appear sicker and they pocketed $50 billion. I'm going to give you one specific example here. Gloria Lee was diagnosed with diabetic cataracts after a nurse stopped by her Boston home for a quick checkup. Gloria Lee, a retired accountant, told the Wall Street Journal that she had received several calls from her Medicare insurer in 2022 offering for free the free in-home visit before she finally agreed. It was a perk her insurance policy came with a $50 gift card. They're saying, hey, if you get this checkup, you'll get a $50 gift card. You're like, okay, so the company is going to pay $50 to go and diagnose this person. What is in it for the company? But Gloria Lee's doctor said she didn't have diabetes, let alone the cloudy vision caused by the disease. The journal notes, however, the insurer, a unit of United Health Group, would have benefited from the nurse's diagnosis because as Medicare pays insurers for more sicker patients, up to $2,700 more a year for those with diabetic cataracts at the time. So what's interesting here is she was diagnosed with diabetic cataracts after she was healed, all of that. They went over, or actually no, I think, let's see, this person was diagnosed with it, but she didn't actually have it. Because she went to her doctor and you're like, yeah, you don't have this. So people are being diagnosed for things that they don't actually have. But specific company doctors are profiting off of giving diagnoses that might not be true. Are you all following me here? It's just wild to me. So Gloria Lee was diagnosed with diabetic cataracts after a nurse stopped by her Boston home for a quick checkup. She had received so many different calls from her Medicare insurer saying that, hey, we have a nurse that we need to go and get a diagnosis for you. Here's $50 gift card. Let them come over and give you a diagnosis. And then this person was like, yeah, I'm actually going to go to the doctor. And the doctor was like, yeah, you don't have that. But the United Healthcare nurse that went and visited said that you do. Well, why? Because with that diagnosis, now that Medicare Advantage insurer gets $2,700. But guess what? You're like, well, why do they go through all this trouble? Because if they can get money from the government for a diagnosis, but then don't ever have to do anything for treatment, they pocket the money. This is a scam. It's a scam. Period. End of story. It's basically health insurance, Medicare Advantage companies be like, hey, here's a $50 gift card if we can give you a diagnosis. And that diagnosis then leads, be like, oh, this person has this. Okay. First off, they don't. Secondly, they go to their doctor and they're like, yeah, you definitely don't. But they get money from the government for the procedure that never happens. It's Medicare Advantage is ripping off the government. Now, people are like, well, what's your solution, Scott? What's your solution? I'm not saying to cut Medicare, no. I want a Medicare for all system. That all being said, there needs to be regulation. There needs to be laws set in place that companies don't do this. And you're like, well, why isn't Congress doing anything? United Healthcare happens to be the top contributor to a lot of people who are in Congress on both sides of the aisle. Why would they want to regulate the people who donate to their campaigns? And this is why people are so frustrated with our government. And there's like, people are like, oh, well, why do you not trust the government? I don't blame them if they don't trust it, because they have stuff like this. Ugh. So, private insurance companies involved in Medicare Advantage, a government program in which private insurers oversee Medicare benefits, made hundreds of thousands of dubious diagnoses from 2018 to 2021 that triggered an extra taxpayer-funded payments, according to analysis done by the Wall Street Journal. Then Medicare paid insurers around $50 billion for diagnoses added by insurers to patient records. $50 billion. You could take that $50 billion and you could alleviate 2/3 of all homelessness in this country with that $50 billion. You heard me right. We could have taken that money and cured 2/3 of homelessness. So, for those people who do not know, Medicare Advantage is ripping off the government. And I'm not trying to sound like hyperbolic or drama-seeking, but the evidence is here. Medicare Advantage overdiagnoses people who have either don't show symptoms of it, but they can make money. They make money by making the population apparently look sicker than it actually is. And again, remember when I was talking about here how looking at Medicare data between 2019 and 2022, the Wall Street Journal found that patients who moved from traditional Medicare to United Healthcare's Medicare Advantage plans got 55% sicker on paper. But did they get sicker in real life? No, they only got sicker on paper. Because the way that this system is set up is the government will give money to the health insurance company with a diagnosis. So if there are more diagnoses than are needed, they're going to pad their pockets. But if they don't have anything where they have to actually follow through on it, either because they find clauses that they don't have to, or because the patients don't actually have those diseases, then they get to pocket the money. And yet our government hasn't regulated this at all. Why? Because United Healthcare and other groups like Cigna and Humana are big contributors to members of Congress, the group that's supposed to be regulating them. There it is. So, before I end the live stream, do you all have any feedback, comments, concerns, anything? I appreciate every single one of you. It was actually shocking to me to find this out. Like, I will cover and talk about corruption all the time. But this is just too explicit even for me. Hello, Elizabeth Tartaro. How's it going? By the way, for those of you who are like, Scott, I really like what you do. Where are you going to be if this app falls through for Americans? Well, I encourage you to go and follow me on all of my other social media platforms. So if you go to my profile, follow these step-by-step instructions. These step-by-step instructions after I outline them. Click up here on this profile, and you'll get to this page where you click on the link tree right here. This is a clickable link, and it takes you to my entire link tree, which you can find my YouTube, my Blue Sky, my Threads, X, Clapper, Fanbase, and my personal Instagram. But then also you can click these icons up here. This is my Scott Johnson from TikTok, Instagram, and my YouTube. I am posting all of my live streams to YouTube. I've started doing that. So if you miss a live stream, they will be there. And also, if this app happens to disappear, I will probably be doing more live streams from YouTube and Instagram. But I am also going to be on Threads, Blue Sky. My Blue Sky has been growing a decent amount. I think we're up to like 34 people, and I've not really been promoting it too much. So I might be doing a lot more on this app. Also on X, I have a Clapper. I don't know how big that will be. Fanbase is trying to be the next TikTok. But then also Instagram. I do not know about that slow tech. And people tell me I need to join Lemon 8, but I don't really know much about that one either. So please go and check out all my other social medias. Again, it's actually really simple. If you go to my profile up here, you click on the Linktree link that's right there, and it takes you here. So, I appreciate every single one of you. Someone is revving their engine behind me. What's up, bro? Let's grow mustaches. So, anyway, oh, really? All right, love that. Love that. So anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. You all are awesome. Oh, we just got a follower on Blue Sky. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I'm going to skedaddle. I need to get to work. So, shout out to all of my amazing moderators in here. Joanna Tech. Love you, Ginger Monster. The Effulgent One. Jenny. That one guy. Akicha. I love you, stop asking. Who else was in here this morning? I love all of you so much. And all of my good friends in here. MJ, C-Bar. Y'all are awesome. Hannah, thank you. I appreciate that. You have an amazing day too. CapCut is also owned by ByteDance. Bye-bye. Love that. So, let's see. But yeah, I love all of you so much. I need to skedaddle. Hallie, thank you. I see you always liking the live, so it means a lot. So I love all of you so much. I really do. It means a lot that you all are here. So go and check out my past live streams on my YouTube. I've been working on them a lot. And part of what I'm doing is trying to eliminate the filler speech. Because that means that I have to take more time in editing those videos. So, anyway, I appreciate all of you. Just remember that you are beautiful. You are loved. You are valid. You are strong. And you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye! Oh, thanks, Debbie, for the heart.